We got sent the Paracon Brawler gaming chair from Paracon, so let's unbox it. Now let's unbox some of the stuff in the box. Here is the stand, which looks and feels pretty sturdy. Next we have this cushion, which feels really comfortable. And then the main part, which kind of gives you a bit of like a racing car vibe, which is cool for gaming. Because who doesn't want a racing car as a gaming chair? We also have another cushion, which is pretty soft as well. We also have our nuts and bolts in here, which is obviously important when your chair falling apart. And we got our armrest, which is very important if you're playing a controller. And we also got this thing, which adjusts the height of the seat. We also have what appears to be cappings, not really sure. We also got 2 coins, which says one more game. Not sure what the purpose of these are, but they're definitely really cool. And last but not least, the seating part, which feels quite comfortable. Obviously paired with the cushion. And that's everything. So let's put this thing together, which will be probably a really long time, because I've actually never put together a gaming chair. So we'll be following the manual and see if the manual actually like works. Because what's the point of adding in a manual if the manual doesn't work? So now let's look at the parts more in depth. Now I'm not really a fan of like the hard armrest. I like one bit of cushioning, which it does have, is a tiny bit of like foamy cushioning, which is good. I mean, you pair this with your jumper, pair with that, that's pretty good cushioning. And the armrest is also adjustable by pressing in this lever here, and bam, which is quite cool if you've like long arms. Next we have the cushioning. Let's take out the wrapper. Bear in mind this is going to be really loud. And here it is. It's actually quite soft. This is, I think, the one that goes on your back. There's 2 of them. There's one for your head, one for your back, which is good. This is the head one. Yeah, it's pretty soft. You can't unzip and clean it, which is actually a really good thing in case you get it dirty. And this is one that goes on your back. So let's just take off the wrapper. And here it is. Now, like the one that goes on your head, you can use a zipper, take it off and clean it. I can show it on camera like that. And yeah, so it makes it pretty easy to clean. It also has kind of like this like semicircle ovally stuff, which I mean improves back support, which is good. And it's good cushioning too, so pretty good. Next we have probably the most important thing, which is the actual sitting part. This thing does give you kind of racing car vibes, which is really cool in a gaming chair. Sadly, I don't think you can actually take off this leather covering to clean it, but by looks of it, you can get into little creases to clean. Because kids and gaming and yeah, you won't be able to clean this thing good. And the cushioning is also pretty soft, which is also good because you'll be gaming for hours upon hours and you don't want to have like an annoying gaming chair that's just hard. This is the thing we use to adjust the height of the gaming chair. Now it's made out of full metal, which is good because I mean it has to support weight and stuff. So the lever is kind of a bit noisy, but we have to see when we actually put the gaming chair together if it makes the same noise. Because you don't really want this like, it sounds a bit loose. And last but not least, we have probably the most coolest part, the actual back support. And here it is. Now this does give really cool racing car vibes, which is really nice in gaming chairs. Huge fan of those. Also does have plastic, which is good if you want to move it. You know, you just hold on to this stuff and you pull your gaming chair back. Really cool. You can also unzip this thing to like clean or do stuff inside. Not really sure why. But yeah, I mean gaming chair, it looks pretty cool so far. Now let's do the hardest part, which is putting it together using the manual, because I've never put together a gaming chair before. Now since we are going to follow the user manual, let's actually take a look at this before we actually get into it. So they actually number code every single part, which I think is way better than actual like letters, because letters are just confusing. And by looks of it, there's 8 steps, which is pretty straightforward. 8 steps, but they're pretty long steps. The first step is to attach the wheels onto the base. Let's go do that. So these are the wheels. These wheels rotate in at 360 degrees, which is really good for chairs. Also 2 wheels, which are pretty cool. So let's attach them on. Now these things are kind of like hot swappable, which is really, really good in case you don't want to, you know, like slide down the stairs, like your siblings, for example. So it's definitely smart that they did that. And it should just clip on. That easy. And that easy to take off, which is pretty good for safety reasons. So now let's move on to step 2 or step B. This is attaching the bearing onto the base, which is this guy, and also its caps, which are these guys, these 3 guys. So let's go do that. So according to the manual, it is this side down, so just pop in. Now do put pressure onto it because it has to stay there, you know. So press down it, twist, and bam, it's on. Now let's attach on its cappings. This is how it goes, isn't it? And you. Does it work that way? I feel like I'm doing all the way. Hold on. See, hold on. See, that's smart. That's good. Hopefully that actually, yeah, that's it. Bam. That actually took some time to figure out. You probably should have mentioned that in the manual. So now let's move on to part C or part 3, which is attaching the seat and the backrest with 4 screws and the lever thing. Now they do advertise that you can flex the thing back to I think like this degree angle. So we are going to be testing that, see, you know, if you don't tip over. So obviously first we have to actually assemble this chair. It's good, it feels pretty good and sturdy, which is obviously you don't want a cheap thing. You know, these things should not be cheap. If this thing breaks, then this thing is just going to be loose and bam, gaming chairs is useless. So it's a good thing that they made this thing sturdy. Right, this thing does require the 15 screws, which are in this bag, I'm pretty sure. Or if we have another bag. And they do include, if I open this up, you don't need a screwdriver or Allen key, but if you have your own, that's always useful. You have an Allen key this side and a screwdriver this side, which is really, really helpful. Because some people don't have these things. Okay, yeah. So they're different lengths, if you just pour it out here. So we can tell by looks of these are different lengths. But, I don't know, they are mixing, but I mean, they're pretty distinguishable which one's which. So that's good. They also have cappings, which is good. Let's pour them all out there. Which wasn't the smartest thing, because we actually have to move this thing to get it on. These things are black too, thank God, because it actually blends in with the chair. If this company made in silver or any other colour, it just would not suit. So good job for the black screws. So now we're attaching on this thing. Sadly this thing is only like one side, which is your right side. Recommend when you're doing this first, put you first and tread by hand like this. If you do it with a screwdriver, it's just way harder. And like that, it holds. Then grab your second bolt or screw. You use these things use the smaller ones. So we got this bit attached on. It did take a bit of figuring out though, because if you tighten this thing doesn't do a full thread. You have to tighten it all at once. Even pressure there, even pressure there. But it fits on. And our handle goes back. So now let's attach on this thing, which is going to be hard one-handed. And lift up, yeah. And do lift up the chair as well. If you feel the thread's going a bit slanted, do lift up the chair. So now we're going to attach on this thing onto this. Now they do have a tutorial online about this, but we're doing the manual, because that's one you get. And so far it's actually going quite good. But if you are genuinely stuck, feel free to go to their thing. Because you do not want to ruin this €160 chair, because you wanted to do it yourself. So now we got this thing attached. Do make sure that you actually like even pressure, because if you tighten this, as you see here, if you show the camera, then this thing becomes loose as you tighten up this. So make sure every couple of rotations of this, you do a couple of rotations of that until they can't rotate anymore. And once we have the base then added on, we can start testing out this thing. So now that we have the supports on, we're going to attach on the cappings. This thing is for the adjustable. You basically snap this thing into this thing, if I can easily, and we attach it on. It requires 2 more screws, which are these, and bam! It actually looks kind of cool. So now let's do the exact same thing, but for this side. Now this thing does line up with this hole by the looks of it, so it's going to line up there. Insert in, and bam! That should be it. Yeah, screw on. So now we're going to attach this base plate, this resting plate, because it's probably the easiest way to get the rest on, you know, without causing havoc. Screw these on using the smaller screws. So sometimes the fabric gets in the way, which makes it treading way harder. And now we're going to attach the base to it, because it's the easiest way to actually put on the handles, surprisingly, by not following the manual. So we should probably change that to make it easier. In the hole. Yeah? That seems like it. It looks kind of cool. So one cool thing about these is that you can actually adjust these side by side and up and down. So it's really good modularity when it comes to adjusting. So now we have the chair fully assembled. So all things left to do is attach on the cushions, not cushions. A good thing about this is you can unplug it, kind of like a helmet, and just put it on, stretch, and bam. That's it. This thing looks a tiny bit more confusing, so I'm guessing it just goes underneath and up and over. That's my rough guess of it. Yeah, this thing is good. I mean, it probably moves your back, which is good. The fact that it moves your back. And it's clearly adjustable too. Yeah, now, sitting down time. And it did not break apart. So that means I built a gaming chair all by myself and did not break it, following the manual. So now let's actually test this thing out and give our opinions on it. Before we give you our last and final opinions on this gaming chair, we need to tell you more about Paracon. Paracon are a Danish gaming accessory company who manufacture and make a wide range of gaming accessories, such as desks, microphones, which I think look really cool in my setup, wink wink, gaming desks, mice, which we must do a review on, and a whole bunch of other stuff. Link in the description will be on the website. A huge thank you for them for sending this out to us for a review, for completely free for us to give our own honest opinions. So yeah, huge thank you to them, and hopefully we can work with them throughout the future. So in terms of comfort, this gaming chair is actually pretty comfortable, but does require some fine tuning by sliding up and down the headrest or the backrest or even the tilt on this thing. And actually going all the way back, you don't tend to tip over, which is something you don't really see that much in gaming chairs. Some gaming chairs just tip over, which isn't necessarily the best things. The design of this chair is really cool. It comes with a leather covering, which is really important in case you accidentally spill stuff and don't want to damage your chair. The colour accents on this chair look really good. You get this chair in a wide range of colours, which you can find a link in the description on the website. In terms of actually building this chair, it was really kind of straightforward. The only real downside was the fabric getting away with the thread, meaning the thread would kind of be caught between the fabric, and it makes it really hard to screw in. So I recommend for them to just clean the holes, because the fabric would just make it really hard to thread. But overall, this chair for €160 looks pretty cool, and definitely worth getting. And because this is a gaming / desk chair, it comes with wheels. But we want to test just how good those wheels are. So let's go outside. So we're outside, we want to test just how good these wheels are. By basically sitting down, oh no, and go backwards. They're pretty good, they're actually pretty soft. Not that good. And they're pretty loose. Now do bear in mind that different flooring varies between how loose and how freely you can move around. Wood is kind of the best, carpet not so much, tiles is also the best, will probably be really loud. Yeah, these wheels are definitely really good, and you can't take these off if you don't want the wheels on. So as you can tell, this gaming chair is quite good for €160. If you guys want to pick up one of these gaming chairs for yourself, link in the description down below and subscribe, because none of this would have been worth it, or none of this would have even happened if it wasn't for you guys. So thank you.